Please rise in body or spirit to join in our processional carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. Please be seated. First of all, let me say that Mrs. Shepard, my high school Latin teacher, would have been very, very proud of you tonight for both the first verse and the Venite Adoremus. Excellent work. I'm the Reverend Ned White, the interim senior minister here at the congregation, and we're delighted to have all of you here for this festive Christmas Eve celebration. I serve here with the Reverend Jennifer Brower and the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, who are also serving on the chancel with me today. Tonight we celebrate the possibilities that come into the world with the birth of each and every child. We've just passed the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year or the longest night, so we also light candles to align ourselves with the light of the sun, which is growing stronger and stronger all the time. We begin with the lighting of our chalice.
These are the words of Dory Janine Summers. There is that in me which reaches up toward light and laughter, bells and carolers, and knows that my religious myth and dream of reborn joy and goodness must be true, because it speaks the truths of older myths, that light returns to balance darkness, life surges in the evergreen, and us and babes are hope and saviors of the world. As miracles abound in common things, rejoice and join in the gladness of Christmas.
And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. So all went to be registered, everyone unto their own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. So it was that while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Please rise as you're comfortable and join in singing O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Please be seated. At this time when days grow short and nights are long, when there is darkness and cold, kindle in our hearts the light of faith. And please join with me in saying the words together of this responsive reading that are printed in your order of service. Kindle in our hearts the light of faith.
We have faced our own times of darkness. We have been discouraged and lonely. We have been afraid. Yet we trust that we will find the light in our darkness and turn again to life with courage and faith. Christmas has come once more to earth. Kindle in our hearts the light of hope.
Let us remember that the great and the holy may be found in unlikely places. From humble beginnings, a child may come forth, carrying within the spark of greatness. From scarcity may come a surprising abundance that yields light far beyond our expectations. Help us remember that in each one of us burns the eternal light that is the birthright of every person who comes into the world.
reading from the Christian Bible, the book of Matthew. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him." When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. Then Herod, when he had called the wise men, asked of them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, that I may come and worship him also." When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star, which they saw in the east, went before them until it came and stood over where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced. And when they came inside, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned by God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed to their own country another way. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together, "We Three Kings of Orient Are."
Please be seated. I invite you to turn to your orders of service again for the litany for our final 2 candles this evening. At this season of sharing with one another that which is deepest and dearest, kindle in our hearts the light of love.
Heal in our hearts the wounds of misunderstanding, error, and regret. Help us to reach out with joy and grace for the gifts that life and love offer us. Sustain our hopes and labors for that time when all shall enter the circle of good and blessed life. Grant us each one wise and understanding heart and the capacity to nurture one another. In this wondrous season, kindle in our hearts the light of joy.
May there come into our hearts the wisdom to be for a time like a little child, to warm ourselves by the fire of imagination and poetry, legend and song. Grant us the wisdom to know that the kingdom of heaven is very close at hand, and all may enter who have eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to understand. While we're doing a little furniture moving here, let me tell you a little bit about what you are about to witness. In a previous life, I was serving as the Director of Religious Education at King's Chapel, a congregation in downtown Boston. We had a tiny little church school, about 10 kids, ranging in age from about 5 to 15, and it was my job to figure out what do we get them to do for a Christmas pageant. So one afternoon I sat down and wrote a little play. I called it The Star, for reasons that will soon become blindingly obvious. I included 3 carols by 20th century composer Alfred Burt. These are carols that he had written as gifts for his friends at Christmas time, and they're among my favorites. So thank you to Stephen and the choir for being our celestial chorus, and to Nathaniel for being our celestial orchestra. Our intergenerational band of youth and young adults, well, they're all young at heart, are delighted to present this to you on this Christmas Eve. And you in the congregation actually have a role to play. Imagine that you are sheep. When one of the, I know some of you have a harder time with that than others, but when one of the comets raises a sign that says ba, you need to make a sheep sound. So let's put the signs down, comets. All right, let's raise that up. Ba. You know you're a smaller congregation than the one at 5 o'clock, but you're louder. I'm just saying. Okay, these are fierce sheep. Let's try it once more. Ba. Good. I believe you have 4 times to do that, so watch closely. So I think we're now ready to proceed with the star. Stephen and the choir will get us started.
Don't you listen to anyone else. I was the star of that production, the leading lady. Why, I watched it all happen. The couple arriving in the crowded village, searching for a place to stay, settling at last for a pathetic stable. Unbelievable. I would have never have settled for that, I'll tell you. I would have demanded my rights as a star. You bet I would. Where was I? Oh yes, shining radiantly above those shepherds. I want to tell you, if I hadn't been there, they would have never found the right place after those irresponsible angels disappeared. Heavens, what angels! Their directions were about as clear as the East River.
Now wait just a heart-plucking minute. That's not fair. We did exactly as we were told.
Our instructions were very explicit.
Find the shepherds,
Make the announcement to them.
sing a few stanzas, and fly off into the night.
That's what we were told to do, and that's what we did. And a good job of it we did too, I might add.
All right, all right. I suppose I have to concede that your performance wasn't all bad. But you couldn't hold a candle to me. I was obviously the star of that show. My role was definitely more important.
It was not! Our role was just as important as yours.
All you did was hang up there and shine.
While we flew busily about and filled the heavens with music.
We were very impressive.
So impressive that we scared those shepherds out of their wits.
What few wits they had.
Hold on there. No uppity angels calling us shepherds simple.
We may not be scholars, but we ain't stupid neither.
We work hard tending those dumb sheep. Day and night, through wind and rain, hail and snow.
Not to mention visits from mouthy angels.
It's enough to make a person pick up his staff and move to the city. Don't worry, I ain't serious. Give me the heavenly host over the city crowd any day.
We listened to the angel and we done what we were told.
Why, if it hadn't have been for us, there wouldn't have been nobody there. These big shot wise guys didn't show for days after the baby was born.
And with all those fancy gifts, I bet you they was living it up along the way.
Excuse me, sir, but I'm afraid you have a distorted view of our journey from the East.
It was only with the greatest difficulty that we were able to locate this child at all.
Had it not been for our circumspection and discretion, who knows what disaster might have befallen the child long before he attained full manhood.
So you see, humble shepherds, our role in the whole production was of the utmost importance. Furthermore, we added a touch of grandeur, which the whole thing badly needed.
A touch of grandeur.
Decidedly a touch of grandeur.
Your grandeur couldn't begin to compare to mine. Why, everyone was admiring me that night. I looked so beautiful.
Excuse me.
I hate to interrupt such a splendid cast of characters, but I must say that I'm disturbed by all your bickering. I can't see that this play is leading anywhere.
Thank you. I couldn't agree with you more. But put your mind at ease. I have just the solution. If we go over the events as they happened that night, I'm sure it'll become apparent to everyone whose role was the most important. I just happened to have brought with me today this handy scorekeeping chart. May we ask you to assist us? Could you come up here and help? All you have to do is tally mark under the appropriate column whenever one of us makes a crucial contribution to the story. Thank you very much. Are we ready? There I was, high in the sky, shining brilliantly over the Judean countryside. It was I who first noticed the couple arriving in Bethlehem for the census. It was I, who saw them going from inn to inn, trying unsuccessfully to find a place to spend the night. It was I who saw them finally settle for a poultry stable as lodgings, and her expecting a child at any time.
Meanwhile, me and the guys was out there guarding our sheep against wolves and spirits of the night.
It sure was a pretty night. Real peaceful.
Until that angel came down out of nowhere, all sudden like. We were the only ones who seen it, you know.
If those shepherds get a point for seeing the vision, we angels should get several points for being the vision. When I arrived in all my glory, those simple shepherds nearly ran away before I could deliver my famous lines. Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord.
Yeah, we were scared. Angels don't speak from the sky every day. But we stayed to hear you, didn't we? You bet we did.
He's right about that. They did listen when we told them about the sign. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger.
And then a whole herd of angels arrived on the scene, singing their wings off.
What a beautiful moment.
But that was the end of the angels' part, while we shepherds was just getting started.
We got all our stuff together and set off for the village right away.
And it weren't any easy trick finding the right stable, I'll tell you.
We searched the whole town before we found it.
In the middle of the night, don't forget.
Of course, there was a bright star shining over the stable for those clever enough to lift up their eyes and look.
Whoa, whoa, well, we found the place all right, didn't we? Star or no star?
And we told the mother and the father about what we'd seen and heard.
From the angels, don't forget.
And after we told our story and seen the little babe all wrapped up and cozy like, we went back to work.
It was wicked awesome.
And we was there long before these three wise guys came, days before.
Well, sirs, I hasten to remind you that we had a somewhat longer distance to travel to Bethlehem than you did, hundreds and hundreds of miles through desolate desert.
Following that star, whose rising we had observed in our own countries.
I needn't tell you who that star happened to be.
A star announcing the birth of one who was the king of the Jews. We astrologers follow such matters very closely.
It was only natural we should set out to pay homage to the king who could command such a great star.
Oh, do go on, gentlemen.
We journeyed a very long distance until we reached Jerusalem.
And there King Herod questioned us about who this king was and where he was to be born.
We referred him to a prophecy which reads, Bethlehem in the land of Judah, you are far from least in the eyes of the rulers of Judah, for out of you shall come a leader to be the shepherd of my people Israel.
Herod seemed extremely interested.
So much so that he asked us to report to him the exact whereabouts of this child so that he might pay homage to as well.
And then we continued on to Bethlehem.
Following yonder star, of course.
As I was saying, we continued on to Bethlehem and eventually found the stable where the babe had been born.
There we laid down our exquisite and expensive gifts.
Gold.
Frankincense.
And myrrh.
Had we not arrived with these gifts, that baby would have had absolutely nothing to distinguish him as a king.
Scandalous for one of his rank.
Or fine for one of his station.
We saved his birth from being a completely humiliating experience.
Not only that, but we departed by a route that bypassed Jerusalem because we had been warned in a dream that King Herod's intentions were not altogether honorable.
We probably saved the child's life by giving his parents time to escape with him before Herod ordered the massacre of all young children in Bethlehem.
So you see, our role in this whole drama was not insignificant.
One might even call it crucial.
The sine qua non of the whole event.
But not as important as the role I played. Just look at all the tallies I've already scored.
I still say you didn't do anything except sit around up there while we were working our celestial selves to a frazzle.
Hold the phone there. How about us? We played our part perfect.
Ignore all the others and listen to me. I was the star. Ignore all the others and listen to me. I was the star. Ignore all the others and listen to me. I was the star. Ignore all the others and listen to me. I was the star. Ignore all the others and listen to me. star.
Let us join together in singing Joy to the World.
We will now take an offering for the congregation. Our Christmas Eve offering supports the IN, the Interfaith Nutrition Network, addressing hunger and homelessness on Long Island by providing food, shelter, long-term housing, and supportive services in a dignified and respectful manner to all those seeking help. Please make checks out to UUCSR with NINN in the memo line. And any of you who have brought your guests at your table boxes for the UU Service Committee, please, you may come forward and put them under our tree. Thank you for all your generosity. Will the ushers please come forward? For so the children come, and so they have been coming.
Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman.
No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses.
No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind.
Yet each night a child is born is a holy night.
Parents sitting beside their children's cribs feel the glory in the sight of a new life beginning.
They ask, where and how will this new life end, or will it ever end?
Each night a child is born is a holy night.
A time for singing.
A time for wondering.
A time for worshiping.
We come to that part of our service where we celebrate the promise of light in the darkest season of the year. We begin with some brief instructions on the proper way to light a candle. So you will notice this candle that I have here has that thing on the top that's called flame. And that causes the wax to melt and drip, which we want to prevent. So the proper way to pass the light is to have the person next to you tilt their non-burning candle. And then, moving right along, splendid. So we think we can do that. This will, we hope. So here's the instructions. The choir will sing one verse in German of Silent Night, and they'll lead us singing 3 verses in English with the words projected on the screen. Ushers during this will come down and light a candle on the end of each aisle, and then you can pass the light along as has just been demonstrated until we have illuminated the entire room with candlelight. I will invite you to raise your candles at that point and then lower them. And then the ministry team will offer some final words in the writings of Howard Thurman, and we will recess carrying our candles. Light it if you wish, or put them out if you prefer. And I will ask Nathaniel to begin at this point.
Son
us raise our candles as a sign of our commitment to light, to truth, to compassion, to love. May we show this to the world as our gift in the new year and in all years to come. So may it be.
When the song of the angel is stilled,
When the star in the sky is gone,
When the kings and princes are home,
when the shepherds are back with their flock,
the work of Christmas begins.
to find the lost,
to heal the broken,
To feed the hungry,
to release the prisoner,
to rebuild the nations,
to bring peace among the people,
to make music in the heart.
Merry Christmas, everyone.